How's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be taking a look at the most common HEs thrown in CS2 at the professional level. These are going to be based on my own observations from watching an unhealthy amount of Counter-Strike demos this year, so if you disagree with me on one of these nades or feel like I left something out, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I definitely don't know everything. So let's go ahead and get started with Ancient. It's no secret that mid-elbow gets a lot of love from the CTs when it comes to throwing grenades. So generally, most CTs are going to end up throwing a molly like this, and then an HE at this little leaf here to catch anyone that's trying to run right through the HE like you saw in that intro clip. And again, it really is just as easy as aiming at this plant. There's no specific timing. Generally, I'm going to release just as I'm starting to exit red room, and boom, it's going to land right here in the middle and blow anyone away. And I'd say the other most common HE is over here on the B site. After they've mollied out lane, you're generally going to see them do a nice little run throw with an HE that's going to land right here in the middle of this area, so if anyone tries to run through that molly, well, they're going to get tagged and burned for even more. And yeah, it really is that easy. You aim just above this brick and do a nice little run throw for a perfect HE to catch anyone running through that molly. Now that we have Ancient out of the way, let's talk about Anubis. The stairs nade is definitely the most common HE on this map, and if you go right here alongside this corner, move a little bit out to the right so you don't clip against the wall, and aim on the left side of this little floor triangle, you can do a run, throw, and release just as you get to the middle of these stairs. Now, that sounds like a lot, but after you practice it a few times, you're going to be landing this thing right on top of the head of anyone trying to hold connector. Now, if you don't like that one, you can actually go to the other side in this position, and you can aim similar to the same spot on the last time, but I like to go down to these little gaps in the floor tile right here and do a nice run throw and release. And as you can see, that should have a very similar trajectory and do a significant amount of damage. Now, believe it or not, this nade's actually a two-way street. You can counter it by going down to the bottom of these stairs, and just as you hit the bottom, you're going to aim right here at this position and do a run, throw, and release. And hey, if you time that right, you're going to decimate anyone that's in the middle of throwing that normal stairs HE, and if you have the best spawn as a T, you can actually avoid getting hit by their grenade. So it's a win-win. Moving on to Dust 2, if you're ever opping mid and you end up seeing a smoke come in towards the mid doors, you're probably going to want to know how to effectively blow it up. So I go to the right side of this headlight and do a simple left click throw at the top of this darker mark here to completely blow this open cleanly, allowing you to take a couple of fights in mid with that op. Now, sometimes they're going to end up smoking Xbox instead, so the reason I like that front right position on the van's headlight is so that from that same exact position, whenever it's an Xbox smoke, instead of aiming on that dark spot, I go in between these two posts, right on the wire, and do a left click throw. That's going to break this open cleanly as well, giving you an easy shot straight through. And this is super quick to line up and very easy to throw. Again, right at the wire, and you have a beautiful break that you have plenty of line of sight through. Now, Dust 2 is a map of many long-ranged angles and a lot of smoke, so whenever they end up smoking the CT cross as they're getting over on towards A site, if you aim right here on the left edge of this closer up wall, well, that's going to end up completely blowing the smoke open and allowing you to have a very easy fight straight through. Now, this is an incredibly easy one to throw. You're just going to take a slight step forward as you release it, and boom, that thing is getting blown wide open. Now, when it comes to Inferno, it's hard not to mention those early banana HEs, and generally they're going to just aim at the top of this railing to hit anyone as they're running up. The way this is thrown is by doing a left and right click running throw at the top of this railing. So all in one motion, it's going to look something like this, and that HE should land right here in the middle, around head height in the center of banana. But sometimes the Ts like to fire back after they molly car. Sometimes they'll end up doing a nice run throw just above this lamp to catch anyone sitting here on sandbags. Now, sometimes the CTs will end up throwing HEs into these little pockets here to catch any of the Ts that are set up in there, whether they bank it off the side of that wall, or if they just aim up above to the top right of this window and do a nice run throw to where it lands right on the inside of this left side. Either one of these is going to get you a lot of damage if anyone's in there. Now, Mirage, without a doubt, is the mid-window break HE, and the way that I generally do this is by crouching onto the sawhorse, aiming down below this dark mark, and doing a right-click jump throw while standing up, and that's generally going to blow this thing open without me taking any damage at all. Now, a lot of times, higher tier oppers like Modesty are going to end up throwing this differently. Whenever this smoke comes in, they're going to aim up at the top here and do a left and right click throw with an HE towards the top, jump on top of the sawhorse, and boom, they have line of sight all the way down mid this way. A lot of times they'll throw smokes that are harder to break with those other lineups, so this may be your best bet if you're going for an early op pick. Now, another HE that I see thrown very often in the professional scene is after they have mollied off apps here, after a little bit of jump spotting, once that molly starts to fade, you'll see a lot of B anchors end up throwing a super deep HE to try to catch any of the Ts as they're moving up towards this position. Now, when it comes to Nuke, I think we can all agree that the most popular HE grenade is this one right here for Squeaky, that's going to allow you to drop down and run through the doorway without worrying about opening it. But on CT, it's a little different. There's generally going to be an incendiary thrown to prevent any of that really fast yard control, and they'll often pair it with an HE that's going to bop anyone sitting behind this blue box. Now, to throw all this, it's actually fairly easy. For the molly, you're going to go to the edge of this wall here, and you're going to aim out to the left of this middle wire, down the pole, and do a nice run, throw, and release. And that should land right here in the middle and completely molly out this region, making it a little bit harder to push up on through. Now, the HE is even easier. Right after you've thrown the molly, you're just going to run up here and bank that thing right off of this back fence to demolish anyone that's set up back behind the blue box. Alright, so let's finish up here on Train. For the most part, whenever you're seeing CTs play this map, they're going to end up mollying out the T-con entrance, which is going to force Ts either behind it or through it. And hey, if they're in front of it, you can bank an HE to do some insane damage. It's definitely going to make them think twice about standing here. And again, it is a very easy HE to throw. So yeah, this is what it's going to look like all together. Again, super simple HE, bank it right off the train, and boom, you've got some utility damage. Alright, so that just about wraps up my list of the most common HE grenades thrown in professional CS2. Again, if you think I missed something, if you think I left something out, let me know down in the comments below, and hopefully we'll get that added into a future video. Before I go, I do want to thank all of our awesome channel members right now on screen, as you can see, flowing right by. Thank you guys so much for letting me do what I love every single day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.